Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance Group podcast. And we have Kristina Messenger from Messenger Financial and Five Rings Financial in the studio with us today. Kristina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so you have been with you started Messenger Financial. We were just talking about before this podcast started. Your production has just been like this. You've done some huge things this year with the Beyond the Badge program, which we're going to talk about shortly. So it's awesome to have you, a longtime friend of Alliance Group, and this is actually it's her second visit to the studio, but the first one where we've been able to actually film some material. The last time she was just kind of stopping by to say hi on your way through town, right?
Absolutely.
So really excited to kind of get to pick your brain on this episode and lots to talk about. I wanted to start, Kristina, with one of the things that I love about you is that you are so passionate and truly authentically passionate about not only what you do, but why you're doing it, and your why in this business. I truly think that the people who are most successful are the people who are genuinely in it for the right reasons and have that why. You absolutely have an incredible why, which actually stems from some losses in your past. So how does Jacob and Doug, how do their spirits help you help others?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that question. When you're presented an opportunity in business, sometimes you don't really recognize the magnitude that God has in the story. Mm-hmm. And I would say that when my husband passed away in 2004, that I didn't probably heal the correct way, if you will.
That's Doug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so fast forward, about 6 years later, I had the opportunity to enter into the financial industry.
Right.
And it was actually through a product called mortgage protection. And the gentleman that had approached me about it had no idea that was my story.
Right.
And so even though I had other businesses at that time that were very successful, I felt very much a calling to be the person on the other side of that kitchen table to explain to families that not only is mortgage protection important, but that life insurance in general is important.
Right.
And so I did that for a number of years. The company that I was with actually dissolved, and I didn't know if my career in the financial industry would continue. I was a business consultant.
Right.
And then I had an opportunity that year to really recognize my son passed away that same year in 2015, and I had a opportunity to recognize that not only is mortgage protection but final expense important, but there's some other financial tools that are very important.
Right.
And through my loss of Jacob, the next year I actually found Five Rings, and had no intention of being an agent, actually. I just wanted to refer people because I loved the financial education.
Right.
I was still healing and grieving, but what really God intended, right, the mess of all of the loss, what God's story wasn't done. Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to share, not only what I walked through in not having the financial products that I get to bring families today, but I get to share their stories, and that keeps their legacy alive, right? When I tell a lot of parents sometimes that when you've lost a child, the people around us don't know whether or not to say that child's name or not, right? They don't know what to do.
Right.
And by me being able to share Jacob's story in so many of my presentations, and to be able to talk about Doug and know that these products make a difference, it allows them to stay close to me. It allows me to keep them living on. And they're not just an example of why you need life insurance or living benefits or, any number of things. They're actually still a living testimony, and they're a real person.
Right.
And it's been really healing. It's been really healing for me to be able to do that.
Absolutely. It's, I feel like I knew Jacob, especially his, I see his pictures that you post. It seems like he was a really incredible kid. And I know that both Jacob and Doug, them them being kept alive is important to you, and that it shines through that they're a big part of what you do and a reason why you do what you do. You mentioned being a business consultant, so that was your previous career before you got into financial services.
Yep.
Now you're actually helping a lot of small business owners with a lot of these conversations. So when you work with small business owners and doing what you do, what are some of the most common problems that you're helping small business owners think about? And in many cases, you're uncovering problems they don't even realize that they had before they started talking to you, right?
Yeah. The interesting part is they know they have a problem. They're just not even sure where to get started, right? They know that they have this dream and that they have a product or a service and that they're helping the community, right? But they also recognize that they're probably not doing things exactly right.
Right.
Which is true in a lot of businesses, right? You have somebody who has an idea, but they're not really a CPA. They're not an attorney.
Right.
They're definitely not a bookkeeper in most cases. And so what I'm finding with most small business owners is that, they've given everything to make their dream fly. And because of that, they've self-sacrificed their own retirement.
Yeah. Now, a lot of business owners, they don't even have a plan for their own retirement, right?
Yeah.
I hear a lot that their plan is to sell the business or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe they haven't even thought about that. They've got their head down so much working on what's right in front of them that they're procrastinating
Absolutely.
thinking about their own retirement.
Yeah. And I think that that's the biggest thing that you said there is I think that for most they're like, oh, I'm going to sell this business. That will be my retirement. But the fact of the matter is that unfortunately, in most cases, that does not happen.
Right.
And so we've, bringing the awareness to the small businesses that number one, you can pay yourself first and you can start saving for that rainy day. If the business sells great, that's going to be sugar on top or a cherry.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and allocate some money over just in case that doesn't happen. And most of the time when I sit down with those small business owners and I show them the path to get to that, they thought they were going to climb a mountain.
Right.
And once we break it down and we allocate the money the right way, it is so clear to them that retirement can happen in case it doesn't sell.
Right.
So it's kind of like I tell them, I'm not really big on the word plan B, but let's just pretend for a minute that we have a plan B. Like we're all into this business.
Sure.
But just in case something happens, right?
Right. And B doesn't have to be instead of A. B can be in addition to A.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But having that conversation where you kind of help a business owner start to see contributing to or planning for their own retirement as part of their overhead.
Correct.
Rather than something that happens if I have money left over after
Yes.
everything else is paid for. This is right off the top, pay yourself
Yes,
first, right?
Absolutely. And the other big thing that most small business owners face right now is how do I not only attract good employees or, in the case of a small business, if there are 5, 10, 20 employees, but really how do I attract and retain my key employees
Right.
that potentially could have a better offer next week, right? And I think that's a huge concern, especially as the last 2 years, the market's kind of shifted and there's been a lot of players come to the field that might not have been available before for small business owners. And so they're worried about being able to continue to grow the assets of the people in the company, but not being able to have the money to do like a traditional 401k to be competitive in the market.
Right.
So now we're talking about paying them first, and also let's allocate to those employees in which you can't lose as part of your plan. The ones that are the backbone, that are keeping the doors open, that are growing the company, that are invested just as much as you.
Yeah.
I like to call them employeepreneurs, right? They're still employees, but they have the entrepreneur mindset.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, showing them that you don't have to necessarily, as a small business owner, have a 401k. Let's utilize some of these financial tools to really get what they're looking for, which is they just want to know they're going to have retirement down the road.
Right.
And let's get you what you're looking for, someone who's locked into your vision that's going to stay longer than the best offer, down the street, down the road.
And not to mention some financial protection for the company.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
In case something, God forbid, happens to one of those employees, those most important employees, as you said, it's going to cause a financial disruption to the company if something happened to them. So as a side effect of what you're primarily doing this for, which was the things that you mentioned, you're also setting up that that protection. I think a lot of business owners, do you see the reaction of them sometimes when you're talking through all these things that a life insurance policy, technically these are life insurance policies, they didn't realize that they could answer, they think of life insurance as something that it'll pay out if something bad happens, which is important. But you can also attract, retain, reward, do all of these things to actually strengthen your business with these products. Yeah,
they're actually, I think that most small business owners are blown away. It's kind of one of those things where they're like, why do I not know about this, right? Why haven't I not heard about this?
Right.
Doesn't matter if they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s. The question is, how did I never know about this?
Right. Nobody ever told me. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, well, that's what I'm here for.
Yes, I'm the messenger, bringing you the message.
There you go. Look at that. So on brand. I want to talk about kind of switching subjects a little bit. One thing that really defines Kristina Messenger and Messenger Financial is your empowering women in this business, and your really focus on women in the financial services industry. We know that the financial services industry and the financial sector in general dominated by white, old, gray-haired males for so long, right? That's something that, first of all, Five Rings Financial does an amazing job of doing. Well more than half of Five Rings Financial is made up of women, which is incredible. In your business, you're almost primarily focusing on women. Tell me why that is. Is it a matter of strategy, or is it more just what you're called to do? And then why is it so important for you to focus on women in this industry?
It's probably a little bit of both. It wasn't strategy in the beginning by any means. It just naturally happened. I think that, number one, it goes back to my why. I can remember being 29 years old. Husband had passed away. We had saved some. We were very lucky we had done that. But I'm sitting across from the gentleman that you just mentioned, older, white guy, no hair, actually. And he tells me, he says, you've already invested this. I'll just keep with the strategies that, your husband had already selected, and, you probably wouldn't understand anyway. And I can remember thinking that, and I was in corporate America at that time, making six figures.
Right.
And I can remember thinking to myself, if I feel this way at 29, like, who else as a woman feels this way? And so I started asking in those, couple of years that went on. It actually led me to start helping people really understand their finances long before I was a financial consultant.
Right.
It was this quest that I had for women to understand their finances, to understand where the money in their household was going.
Right.
And I think that for me, the more that I've become intentional in my practice, is that I've recognized that we as women actually provide a lot of value when it comes to the financial plan for the family. I think that there's a time and place where, a woman definitely feels not safe, not comfortable inside of the whole financial conversation. We process money differently. And so I wanted to be that outlet. I wanted to be that one who provided a safe place for them to ask any question, silly or not.
Right.
For them to ask again, like, okay, can you explain it again?
Right.
Can you show me again? And so that's probably now more intentional. I also very much have a vision of helping 100 moms. I'm a wife and a mom first before business.
Right.
I was fortunate to remarry in 2016. And, for me, I've been a business owner, but it was important to have a business that allowed me to stay the wife and the mom that I wanted to be. And so my vision has been, I want to help 100 wives and moms from home make six figures. In the financial industry, they can do that. They can still be a wife and a mom, not compromise any of their values or their schedules, and earn six figures if they choose.
You're living proof.
I'm living proof. And so that's the focus, the last 5 years has been, who else can I help?
Right.
What other mom is down on her knees that wants to be at the PTA meetings, that wants to be part of her community, and is looking for the career that allows her to bring value to her community and also income to her home?
Right.
And so that's my focus, and it has been. I tell men I'm not anti-men. I'm married to one.
Right. Yeah.
The joke is that I don't, hire any men inside of my agency. I actually approved 2023. I hired 2.
Right. Yeah.
But
and it's not like you're saying no to
right.
men. It's
I'm
just
not.
You
I naturally gravitate to helping women.
Right?
To helping women grow their practices, and I think that it's also just like the life insurance products that we have that are a secret. I think it's a secret that women can be unusually successful in this industry with the right mentorship.
100%.
And so that's what I want to be. I want to be that beacon of light to women that want to be a business owner, that want to impact families and their own communities while still providing an awesome income and some great trips through Alliance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's to me, I know that traditionally, and it's been a male dominated industry, but if you sit here and you actually think about it, it makes perfect sense why women would be so successful in this industry. I mean, life insurance at its core, it's about security, it's about love, it's about nurturing, it's about caring for others, right? All of those things I would by traditional roles, I would assign those to more feminine type qualities and having
needs.
Right, exactly. Needs and qualities. And having a woman guide you through that conversation, especially, we've all seen the stats. I mean, men like to think that they're in charge of their households, but I think most men, if you kind of got them off to the side, they would acknowledge that, the women are making more decisions now than ever. And having women guide women through those conversations, I think just makes perfect sense. If you look at the groups like Five Rings Financial, like your own agency, that are embracing that, you're seeing that the trend is that they are being very successful with it, and I think that that's going to continue.
Absolutely. And I think that the other statistic that blew my mind that we just heard in December, both of us, is how many high net worth earners are really predominantly are now leading their families, right, in income, and it's women, and I think that that's changed as well. And so a woman in whatever industry is potentially not going to hear, just like I didn't hear from that gentleman sitting across the desk. And so then what happens is maybe that family is not even started saving. And so they're missing out just because there's not a woman for them to select. And so the more women that we can bring to our communities to offer the financial education, to have Wine Women and Wealth, to host free money classes and Mommy Money MEs, then the more that we're really providing that resource to the community for that woman to say, yes, I have been wanting to save, and yes, you're the right fit.
Right. So actually, it's a perfect kind of segue into what I want to talk about next, which is Wine Women and Wealth. Everything that you just described about the lack of again, traditionally speaking, women not feeling comfortable, not feeling safe to talk about, to explore finances, to ask their questions. They just have this feeling that that it isn't something comfortable that they can talk about. That's what Wine Women and Wealth really sets out intentionally to dispel. Correct?
Absolutely, it's my most favorite event. It's a little bit of networking, which women love. It's a little bit of socializing. So even if they don't have a business, right, they get to socialize a little bit. We bring a wealth tip each and every month that's different. And women, because our need is safety and security, and because we process money differently, when we're providing that wealth tip, it's coming from an education standpoint.
Right.
So there's nothing they can buy at any of those events, but that education serves as a platform for them, or a foundation, if you will, for them to be able to say, wow, okay, now I have this piece. I'll come back next month for the next piece. Right. And it continues on. So that event has allowed me to not only become kind of known in my community as if you're a woman, go to this Wine Women and Wealth and have fun and get a wealth tip,
which is awesome.
But also it's really placed a huge emphasis on women being able to share with other women where they can invite their friends to and to feel safe about money. So it's not uncommon that from any given month to month that I'll have someone who's attended before that says, hey, My friend's going through a divorce. I brought her tonight. Hey, my friend's about to get married. I brought her tonight. Hey, my friend's opened up a business. I brought her tonight, right? And so that, for me, is really kind of the visual representation that as women, we need each other, not only as a community, but also when it comes to learning about financial tools and resources, we do better inside of that community aspect. We learn from each other.
Yeah.
And so women get to share each and every month. They get to bring their greatness to that meeting, and then we get to share a new wealth tip. And so it's a win-win for the community. It's a win-win for me as a financial consultant, and most importantly, it fills my heart bucket because I know I'm making a difference in each and one of their lives.
I think that's something that's important for women to understand about Wine Women Wealth is that it is. Yes, it is informative. It's not like a seminar. It's like it's fun, right?
Yeah.
It feels.
You'll
like,
never know how much fun we have there.
I've been privy to one Wine Women and Wealth meeting. It looked like, a bunch of ladies getting together, drinking some wine, having some fun, having social hour. Yes, learning about finances and having that safe space to ask those questions that they have, and to really break the barriers down, because money is such a taboo subject, right? And this is women, this is men, this is everybody, right? Money is this taboo subject that you don't talk about with your friends, because it can get personal, it can get messy, it can, and then there's a lot of the time that people feel a little self-conscious that maybe they're going to say the wrong thing or ask the wrong question. Wine Women and Wealth is primarily it's an educational event, but you're also going to have fun. You're going to meet people. You're going to learn something about money, and you get to network as well, right?
Yeah, and that's probably, I don't know. I always think, well, yes, they might be coming for the glass of wine. Although most of the events I have, I always say you can have all the water you drink. Oddly enough, I don't drink wine, so it's like,
how
one of those,
ironic.
Yeah, one of those things. Maybe if it was whiskey and Women in Wealth, but I think that the fun part, if you will, the glue to it is actually each soul that is there in the room that month. Yeah. So I always say the right people are there each and every month. And the topic is always just right on line with whatever people are going through at that time. And so, yeah, it's very unique. There's nothing else out there like it. It's so welcoming. The women that have been there in the past, they love seeing new people and new women come. And then those that maybe we don't see for a while, other women in our community will check in on them. So we really are building a network of not only women who want to help each other in their community, but financial stronger women. And that's a different breed of a woman who feels confident in knowing, where do I open my bank account? What do I do? How do I invest? What do I, the thoughts of even what do I do with my aging parents? How can I help my aging parents? Right now we have this woman who is becoming well-rounded, stronger. And I think that for a many number of years, as women, we've lacked that financial strength, knowledge base, right? And so now we're coming back stronger, which is good because we're ending up with more of the money anyway.
That's true. Yeah, I just saw a stat recently that, most women, I think over 90% of women believe that eventually they are going to have to make financial decisions on their own. We tend to last longer than their husbands. So just giving them a forum where they can get those skills, get that knowledge, gain that confidence, which is something that is so important. Confidence to be able to make a decision, right?
Yes.
Because what happens when somebody is not confident about what they're doing, they don't feel empowered, they don't take any action. And so what you're basically doing is empowering them to be able to start to make those decisions that come with being financially successul.
Absolutely.
And, it's awesome. I've been a huge fan of Wine Women and Wealth. Obviously, it's been sweeping the country for well over a decade now. There's more and more events popping up all over the country, and obviously, Messenger Financial, you guys do an amazing job with that as well. I want to talk about Beyond the Badge because this is just this is something that you've a pretty incredible story. We're actually shooting some content on this while you're here at the studio. But you run first of all for our viewers, for our listeners. Tell us about Beyond the Badge.
Yeah, so I have an awesome, incredible agent. Her name is Pat Liss. She's retired from the Department of Public Safety, lives in Alaska. And this is a great story of you never know what one phone call will lead to.
Yeah.
And so, probably almost 2 years ago now, I had said to her, I said, and I had said to multiple different consultants I was working with, I'm like, hey, let's call some people that maybe we wouldn't normally call, right? In our industry, we might call that our chicken list, right?
Right.
The people we're just scared to call. So she was super successful in her career throughout, serving her not only the city of Juneau when she lived there, but then Anchorage Police Department and the Department of Public Safety, and super successful. And so one of the people that she had on her list was actually someone who would have been higher than her, if you will, and was like a mentor to her through the academy and even into her career. And she called and invited him to come and watch Money 101. And so he came, and I presented Money 101 back in Anchorage, like I said, almost 2 years ago.
Money 101, the presentation
Yes.
you guys do, which is basically just, the common sense money education, correct?
Yes. From a free financial education standpoint, yeah.
Yep.
So he came out to that. He loved it. He had at the end, he's like, can we chat with you for a few minutes? So he was the head of what's called the executive committee, the FBI executive committee. It's where all the different departments throughout Alaska come, and they meet up for once a year. They have like a 4-day meeting. He said, I really loved the class. Would you be willing to come and do that class plus a little more? And he kind of gave me some things that the departments had been going through, right? They needed to know more in depth about savings and what different types are available and what kind of retirements are, because unfortunately in Alaska, not every police department has the same retirement. Some of them have none, actually.
Right.
And so I went home. I said, yes, sure.
Sure.
I said, just let me know the dates. This was the fun part about it. I said, I just don't come to Alaska December, January, and February. And he's like, no problem. It's in December, but it's the first weekend and it never snows.
Oh, famous last words.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So last year, about this time, actually, I had taken on that challenge, and it snowed like 26 inches in 24 hours. It was crazy. But the show goes on.
Yeah. So much for avoiding the snow.
In Alaska. So anyway, I had put together this basically 90-minute class for them because that's what they had asked for. And I labeled it Beyond the Badge because for me, going kind of back to my why, I got to keep Jacob at home a lot longer than I probably should have because of those men and women who wore badges. The firefighters and the police, a lot of those are EMTs and where I come from.
Yeah.
And so I was able to have a lot more what I call drugs at home to help keep him comfortable. So I have a real heart for what they give to our community. And so when I approached building out the class, I approached it from, what are the things that they probably don't even know about money? Beyond what Five Rings has done such a great job with the 30 or 45-minute Money 101, what are the real basics? What do they really need to know? And so, started with just identifying this is like the different types of financial accounts that are out here. This is what this means. Some of them are retired military. They have no idea what their TSP can do for them.
Right.
They have no idea the difference between a 457 and a 401k, like none. And they've acquired several of these working it's not unusual for them to be at different departments, within 30 years. And so really diving into that and then diving into, living benefits and how, they give their all every day. But unfortunately, the population of officers across, or any emergency responders for that matter, across our country, they are more likely to have a stroke or a heart attack.
Absolutely.
They need these more than anyone.
That's not even to mention, obviously, other things that living benefits cover.
Correct.
Coma and traumatic brain injury, things like that can paralysis, things that can happen with the obvious dangers that police officers put themselves in the way of on a daily basis, right? And
then the child component, the legacy. Most of these officers understand that. Every day that they go out, they could not come home. And so being able to open accounts for their kids and building legacies, that's huge. And then going and collecting all those 401ks and stuff that they have from the past, right? And being able to be a resource to them to do that and put it together and kind of create their own pension, if you will.
Absolutely.
So, I put this entire presentation together. I just came up with the name Beyond the Badge because I'm like, when they're not out on the street with their badge, what are the things that they really need, like from a financial foundation that they're secure. And it was a hit.
Yeah.
It was a hit. It was more of a hit than, there was about 80 people in the room, and we had officers and captains and chiefs from all across the state come up and say, we've had a lot of financial classes, and financial speakers come in, but by far you delivered that in a way that we understood.
Right.
We knew what you were saying. We learned things that we had never known before, and it was engaging.
Right.
And
you're not talking over their heads.
No.
You're there to truly, you know who your audience is. You know what they need to know, what they're craving, why they showed up, and that's what you deliver. I think that's why you're so good at connecting with your audience. It takes the right person and the right information, and it sounded like they really reacted to it.
Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that. So we came out of that, and we had departments saying, hey, would you come to my city? So we've been to Fairbanks, we've been to Sitka, Whittier, Anchorage. It's just crazy. And we have more that are waiting for us to come.
It's amazing. And Fairbanks, in particular, you were telling me this story, and we're actually filming some things to share this story because it is fascinating. You had this meeting in Fairbanks that turned into you actually presenting in front of their city council to get funds from the city, kind of redirected into these retirement plans that you were going to set up for these 27 officers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible. What does that feel like? That is you having a massive impact on a police department and all of their families. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, so one of the gentlemen in the audience that day approached us after the class was over, and he said, I really love what you're doing. Would you be willing to come and do this same class to the executive, basically the city of Fairbanks, the mayor and the union representative for the police department, and the chief and the deputy chief, and he was the captain.
The most important, the
most
VIPs,
important people. Like, he didn't say the officers. He's like, all of our important,
the decision makers, right?
And he had a vision. They had been understaffed, and his vision as captain was that to be able to reallocate money to a retention program. He didn't know how until he saw the class that day.
Right.
So he had kind of a vision, but had no vehicle to get him there. I had the vehicle.
Right.
And so the first trip was just to present to those really important people in the city of Fairbanks. They all loved it.
Right.
It was what they had been looking for. So then
and they were looking to retain. They really looked at this as yes, of course, we want to provide value, but their primary seeing the value of it was as a way to retain these officers.
Yeah.
They were having problems getting up to full staff. They knew they needed to keep the officers that they had, and they saw that as the primary value of what you were showing them.
Absolutely. It's no secret that our officers over the last few years are under a lot more stress than they had been.
Right.
And that towns and communities.
This is across the country, right?
Correct. Right. Nationwide. And our towns and our communities' budgets are being tapped more than ever as well. So it's kind of this perfect storm, if you will. You have communities across the nation that want some way to retain and attract their officers, because the traditional pensions are pretty much all gone.
Right.
And then you also have these really tight budgets that the cities have. And so in the case of Fairbanks, the captain recognized and knew that their retirement plan was basically non-existent. There was no pension for any of those new officers. So when people would even come and look at the opportunity to join the department, it was like, well, what's your retirement plan? None. So he knew that
pretty hard to recruit to that.
Exactly. So he knew that they needed a really strong retirement plan. The sugar on top with that cherry was that we could provide it in a tax-advantaged way, that we could provide living benefits, which the officers, again, nationwide are severely underprotected when it comes to living benefits, and that it would provide a death benefit, because most cities, again, nationwide, do not have this huge death benefit for officers. Right. There are funds and things that will step in if someone's killed in the line of duty, but as far as just regular life insurance, most of them just have less than an annual year salary or 1 year, which if they have a family, that's not going to go very far.
Right.
And so So the first, presentation went great. They all loved it. And then the real sell had to come to city council because these funds had to be voted on by the city.
Yeah.
And so collectively as a group, we presented the chief and the captain and I to the city council. And it was really funny because the chief had told me, he's like, we have one gentleman. This might be a little hard, right? And it wasn't. Unanimously, it passed.
Wow.
And they
That's
redirected. They redirected $10,000 a year
for each officer.
For each officer, as long as they're employed.
Wow.
And the officers, like when I got to sit with each officer and go over what the city had done for them, the officers were blown away.
Yeah.
They were blown away by the fact that the city cared enough to do this, number one. And then number two, at the extra benefits that they got, like it wasn't just about having a pension or a retirement or what have you. It was about, you're protecting my family along the way.
Right.
Like now I'm bought into this community.
This is like three benefits I got at once. I got the retirement. I got the life insurance,
Yes.
God forbid if something happens, and these living benefits in case I get sick.
Yeah.
All of this in one thing, and they're looking at the city and the heads of their department as the people that are providing this to them. That'll go a long way.
Absolutely. And the city, it's a win-win, right? So the officers got that and the city gets what they're looking for. It's a 10-year vesting program for the officers. So the officers know if I want this, I have to stay for 10 years, right? Yep. But the city gets to retain and now really work on, okay, now we can attract.
Right.
So now it can be a recruiting tool, if you will, to the city of Fairbanks that we care more than other departments, if you will, about our officers because we have this cool new benefit that nobody else has.
It's
like
incredible.
They love that they get to say they're the only ones so far that have it.
It's it's unbelievable how many boxes were checked with these plans. I mean, we'll go over it again, but for the officers, it's my family's protected with life insurance, my family's protected with living benefits. I have a retirement plan in place, and I have these new warm fuzzies about being here and about why I'm here and that people are looking out and caring for me. And then on the city side, you have just by doing this, which was redirecting funds that were already being spent, right? You are locking in basically all of your current force. And like you said, you have this really great new tool to recruit to. We have this amazing, benefit that we offer that not many other departments do. Hopefully that'll change soon with your help. But that is pretty incredible how much value you brought to that city, and what a cool story.
It is. It's kind of a pinch me story because it just encompasses all the things that I love, and I left so humbled because those officers. I know what they give. Yeah. I know the sacrifices that they make. It's not 8-hour shifts and you get to go home. It's not, 12-hour shifts even. And there was only one or two that actually had outside life insurance coverage.
Right.
And so just the simple fact of knowing that those wives now had more security.
Right.
Like, my cup's still
incredible.
full. My cup is.
I can tell that your cup is full. It's about to run out of your eyes.
It's really my greatest joy and honor to be able to provide a resource to departments. I'm hugely excited to be able to share that win for the city, but also the win for the officers.
Well, I hope that you can take this story and what we want to do in the studio with you over the next couple of days is help you show and present that story to other departments because as well as I do just by listening to this story that if it helped that group of officers in Fairbanks, Alaska, there are hundreds and thousands of departments across this country that are in a similar position that could use your help too. Yeah,
right in my own town. I came back and told my cousin, who's an officer in my own little small farming community north of where my office is in McKinney. And it's like, he was even blown away. Like, it is amazing how many communities are really, whether it's fire departments, police departments, EMT, right? Just those frontline hard workers. The municipalities they need ideas. Yeah. The traditional 401k is not cutting it anymore because they really don't have a match.
Right.
And so, it's a really great honor and benefit. So I'm super excited. Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's great to have you, Kristina. We're going to keep you busy while we're here. I hope that's okay with you. There's so much of your business that is so admirable and so good and being done for the right reasons, for the right people. And so thank you for everything that you do for your clients.
Yes, absolutely.
And keep it up. We'll do everything at Alliance Group that we can to support you in that.
Yep. And I appreciate it. And I think that, I want to say this, that I think there's lots of people, that story would have never happened without Pat List kind of stepping out of her comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's a lot to be said about anyone that kind of has an idea or a thought and they can step out of their comfort zone. You never know what that might end up. And as I shared with her many times, she's my hero, and she makes me want to be a better person because, when you have the opportunity to already have one great career and now she's stepping in and she's serving the people that she worked alongside with all those years, it's a greater vision.
Right.
It's the whole idea and thought. I look at her and I'm like, if you can be brave at the mature age that you are today after, retirement and in our 70s, think of all the lives we can change if we will all just be brave, step out of our comfort zone and give it a shot.
It's incredible. And Pat must be feeling pretty amazing about this as well.
Yes,
that she
absolutely.
was able to make such a big impact on her own department.
Yep.
Well, Kristina Messenger with Messenger Financial, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
We're excited to have you in the studio, and let's continue doing awesome things.
Awesome. See you at the top.
Yeah.
Listen to this interview and more on the Alliance Group podcast.